So in the last video, we covered creating elements and appending them, putting them on the page. We just used JavaScript, so none of the content exists until JavaScript runs and puts it on the page. And we can prove it. We can view this page source, and all there is a body main tag. But you knew that because if we go into our editor, all there is body and an empty main tag. And we used create element to make the elements, text content to fill them with content, and append child to put them on the page. And this append child, of course, is called on an element that we grabbed with document.querySelector. So this is all fine and good, but it's not very readable. And so thanks to JavaScript ES 2015 and the great people who continue to work on the JavaScript language, we have a cool way to insert a lot of content very easily and without much hassle. And so I'm going to introduce you to something called a template string or a template literal. So first thing I'm going to do is empty everything, keep our query selector, and we have a blank screen. Great. So what if I wanted to put a bunch of elements on the page at once? It would likely be a lot of work. I would have to create each individual element, and if I wanted to have other elements inside of them, it wouldn't be so easy. So with template literals, what I can do is actually define a template. And so this is just a variable, nothing special about it. I'm calling it template just because I'm using a template literal, but I could have called it anything. And so to use template literals, we're introduced to a third kind of string. So before we use strings with single quotes, with double quotes, and now we're going to use backticks. So the backtick, if you don't know where that key is right above your tab key, and we can open up a template here. And so you might be thinking, what's so special about this string? Well, with template literals, we can define some content and easily insert variables and expressions. So before I make the template, I'm just going to give a short introduction into the usefulness of template strings. Think back to your first assignment where you had const first name equals first name, const last name equals last name. And then you had to do something like alert, hello, my name is plus first name plus empty string plus last name plus, we don't need to actually insert anything after that, but still a lot of pluses anyways. And that would alert your name. Great. With template literals, what we can do is get rid of all that concatenation. You can use backticks, and so we get rid of the pluses and the quotes. And wherever you need to insert a variable, you can use $curly brace and put your variable in there. And that provides for a much cleaner experience if you have a lot of variables in a big template that you're going to be using. So now that we've kind of seen that, what we're going to put in our template is, let's say we have a section tag, and in here we're going to put an h2 about me, and then a paragraph tag, but let's not put the text right inside here. Let's do a const about me. Hi, my name is Michael. I'm a teacher. I also manage software developers for my full-time role and whatnot. Great. String with content. and I can just insert that content with template string, or with the template syntax, $ curly brace. So now when we're defining HTML, we can define an HTML section that can be as nested as we want, as complex as we want, and it's going to look pretty much like regular HTML. It won't have as nice as content highlighting as regular HTML, like this head tag, these meta tags with brackets and everything's different colors to show you stuff, but it still will work. We could even, if we wanted to, put classes ID. So we can add attributes to our elements. And so you might be thinking, hey, how do I put this on the page? Well, you can't just do what we did last time where we did main.append child. This will throw you an error. So if you try this, append child is looking for a node, which you can only make with create element. But what we can do is use a new method called, not method, but a new property called inner HTML. What this does is says, hey, set the inner HTML of the main tag to whatever you put to the right of the equal sign. And we can just feed it our template. And now there's our about me formatted like we think. So one thing to be cautious of is that inner HTML is going to wipe out everything that's inside this tag. So let's say we had an H1 with title of page, a P tag with a bunch of content, and lo and behold, there it is. Inner HTML is going to wipe all that out and put what we say is in there. It says reassign the value of inner HTML to whatever I put here on the right, which is fine. You just have to be aware of that fact before you overwrite something if it's important. So if you're going to use inner HTML, just need to be aware of that. Otherwise, templates are a great way of putting a bunch of content on the page. You can control it all in JavaScript, and it will most likely be the method we use going forward for any sort of dynamically created HTML. So that's all, and I hope you all have a good night.